Okay. Sangye chedan zoye chonam la chancho pardon nanye yazo je daye jeso yebe chonam dola beje sangye drupare sho sangye chedan zoye chonam la chancho pardon nanye yazo那也解说一遍三南耶，这那边些三耶诸巴说，我在西边耶，就西面东。找买日找买恋是年的年报的三月心多没的我。这个来信了，这不能说一大忙咕噜了，免得老跟你呀打呀没。Yeah. So, greetings to everyone, and please listen to the following Dharma talk with the purest motivation, which is to attain enlightenment, complete Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. Mm. So the topic we will be discussing today is we were covering the seven limb practice or seven branches of practice. So out of the seven limbs, we have reached now the limb of dedication. So so we will discuss dedication. What is the dedication? How do you dedicate, and to whom you dedicate, etc. So the seven limb practice, if you recall, if you remember, is to make prostrations, then to make offerings, then to confess your negativity, and then rejoice your positive actions as well as others' positive contributions. And then to request the Dharma teachers to continue teaching and for them to have a long life. And then the last one is to dedicate. So dedication means that whatever merits that you have, dedication basically means that whatever merits that you have acquired during this practice or during any practices, you don't let it just lie by itself, but put it or bundle it with someone else's merit. So you don't leave the merit that you have acquired by yourself to don't leave it alone, but bundle them with the merit of the all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. Combine them together. So that is the merit. That is the dedication that we are referring to. So if you simply put, if you dedicate your merits, whatever your merit that you have accumulated today or this very moment or for this whole year or in your whole lifetime, if you dedicate the merit, then the merit stays longer and forever. If you dedicate the merit, as I said, dedicate the merit means to bundle them up with the merit, let's call it the merit bank. Okay, merit bank. So when you bundle up your own merit with the merit bank of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, the merit never decreases. Instead, you as the merits of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas expand or increase, your merits will, your percentage in that merit, so it will also increase. So think of this as a merit um, um, interest. Okay, so your merit also increases as the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas' merit increases too. So therefore, dedicating your merit with dedicating your merits to the Buddhahood, to the land of the Buddha, to the Pure Land, will actually make your merit stay forever, or to make it increase, never to decrease, right? So there's a line from the sutra requested by Sagarmati. So basically, Buddha's own words that says, just as a drop of water that falls into the ocean will never disappear until the ocean runs dry. Merit totally dedicated to enlightenment will never disappear until enlightenment itself is reached. So the merits. So this is Buddha himself saying, supporting the fact that whatever merit that you have acquired, if if you dedicate it to the enlightenment, if you dedicate for the sake of enlightenment, then the merit will never decrease and always remain. If you don't dedicate the merits, uh, let's say you have done 100 rounds, 100, 100 mala beats of Om Mani Padme Hum. There is a lot of merit there, right? You have done 100 beats of Om Mani Padme Hum, or maybe you have done 3 times or 10 times the Gora circumambulation of a holy place, or reciting some sutra, whatever, or like this particular instance where we are having a Dhamma talk, Dhamma discussion. So any of those activities have a lot of positive merit that we accumulate. And those merit that we accumulate, if we do not dedicate them to the enlightenment, meaning if you don't deposit, okay, think of dedication like a deposit. So if we don't deposit it with the enlightenment, if we don't deposit into enlightenment, or if we don't deposit with the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, that means we keep it with us. If we keep it with us, then there is the threat, the danger of it getting the merit that we have acquired, okay, getting lost or getting robbed by something, by someone. If you don't dedicate the merit, if you don't deposit the merit, then if you carry the merit with you at all times on yourself, then the merit may get robbed, robbed by someone. So how come? How come our dedication? We always talk about. Usually, we say that if we acquire wealth and position, this and that, it goes when we pass away, we die. But then the knowledge that we have, the practice that we do, and the merits that we acquire always goes on, pass on to the next life and the further lives. How can the merits that we have acquired, that we have accumulated, and did not dedicate, how can they be taken away by someone? How can it get stolen or robbed by someone? How is it even possible? So how can it get stolen or robbed by someone? That's a good question, and it is a valid question if the thief, okay, the robber, which is stealing your merit, is someone outside of you, or if someone else. Here we use the term robber, but actually we are referring to none other than our own anger, our own hatred, our own negative mind, our the grudges that we hold against others, and basically all the negative and afflictive emotions that we have within us. So these emotions, basically positive emotion and negative emotion, don't stay in the same. Cannot exist simultaneously. You are either happy or unhappy. You cannot be happy and unhappy both at the same time, even though we feel like we do. But our emotions, two opposing emotions, don't stay at the same time. So when our negative emotions, such as strong hatred or strong dislike, uh, comes, which is very common for us. One moment we are doing some Dharma practice, then all of a sudden something happens that there's a disturbances, and we get offended, we get annoyed, we get irritated, and then very quickly the irritation turns into anger and so on and so forth. And in that split second of one moment of anger, then all the positive deeds that you have done, which are not dedicated, which were with you, okay, which were not dedicated or deposited in into the enlightenment, will all be taken away or robbed away by those robbers or thieves by the name of anger, hatred, and all those malicious thoughts. So therefore, any aspiration, any prayers that you have, um, uh, any aspirations that you make upon completing a positive action, such as I said before, the reciting Om Mani Padme Hum or making a mandala offering, doing prostration, or doing any Dharma activities, basically any meritorious work, any positive action that you have taken, after which, if you don't follow it up if you don't follow it up with dedication, then whatever aspiration that you have, um, um, in terms of um, whatever aspiration and purpose you have for doing that Dharma activity. Let's say you are reciting 100 Om Mani Padme Hum for the sake of getting enlightenment, or for the sake of the what's that? Releasing sentient beings from suffering, etc. So whatever wishes or aspiration that you may have will not be fulfilled, will not be completed if you do not dedicate. The reason is it because Om Mani Padme Hum is not powerful enough? Is because doing a Gora is not beneficial enough? No. There is the karma. When you do the Om Mani Padme Hum, there is the merit. When you do the Gora, there is the merit. All these merits are there. It is not powerless. It's not useless. All of that actually accumulates a lot of positive karma. But the thing is, if you keep the karma within yourself and do not dedicate it, then all those karma, all those positive merits will be taken, will be stolen by the so-called robbers named anger, attachment, etc. So the negative emotions will rob them of you. The negative emotions will rob the qualities of the positive emotions. So therefore, need to dedicate. So there are a few examples. One story is from the Buddha's own time. During the Buddha's time, the place named Vaishali, okay, place named Vaishali. So Vaishali is the place where the third tuning of the Dharma wheel. So Buddha turned the Dharma wheel for 3 times. The first one is Raj in Deer Park in Saranath, Varanasi. The second one is in the Vulture's Peak in Rajgir. Then the third one is in Vaishali, right? So one time, Buddha spent a lot of time in Vaishali. That is where he did his third sermon of the Dharma wheel. So basically, in Vaishali, there were the villagers were making offerings to the Buddha and all the beings, all the monks there, and then they were also making offerings to their parents, who have passed away. Then the Buddha basically opened during one of the time, one of those occasions, about 500 pretas, or so 500 is more or less an exact number, but a huge number of hundreds of pretas came to the Buddha and asked for offerings. So then they said, when they came, even though Buddha know who they are, they look very scary. And then Buddha asked, "Who are you, scary ones?" And they said, "We were the parents. We were the parents we were the deceased parents of those who have passed. Those who have made offering to you now." So these scary-looking people came to the Buddha. Um, so, okay, the scenario was that the villagers made offering to the Buddha and the monks, okay? And then after the meals were offered, sometime later, about 500 scary-looking people came to meet the Buddha. And even though the Buddha knows who they are, then the Buddha said, "Who you are?" And then they said, "We are the deceased parents of the ones who made the offering." And then the Buddha said, "What you want?" Even though he knows what they want, they asked, "Whatever foods are being offered to you, please please dedicate them for us as well." And Buddha once again asked the question, "Why should I do that?" And they said that if you, even though of course Buddha knows, but this was done in the instant. The reason Buddha asked the question is that all the monks are witnessing that, and so for that reason, then people will learn from the Buddha's question and their answer what was the purpose for doing this and that during the dedication. So they asked Buddha to dedicate them and the monks to dedicate for them, so that they can finally taste the food, eat the food. And Buddha said, "Why?" And they said, "Without your dedication, we are unable to consume the food. We are unable to take part in the meals." Uh, yeah. So the Buddha said, "Okay, then I will make the dedication, and me and the monks, the Sangha, will make the dedication for you. But tomorrow, come to the event. Tomorrow, come to the event. When they make offerings to the Buddha, you must also come as well." And then they said, "No, we cannot come. We are so scary. So scary in the sense of not like a ghost. I mean, not like the movies where the ghosts are so like, that kind of spooky kind of scary, but scary in the sense that when you see malnourished children, right? People malnourished, like who did not get enough food to eat, super skinny, so skinny, um, and then maybe their hands are like a like a branch of a tree, very skinny, very skeletal, right? That kind of scary." So they said, "No, we cannot come because we are so scary and we are so ugly. So therefore, we are ashamed to come." And the Buddha said, "Why should you be ashamed now? Why should you feel scared now?" Uh, so basically, these parents, the parents who were born, the parents of the villagers who were born as pretas, the hungry ghosts, used to be from like used to have um, you know the things that they have, uh, they were not ready to share. Basically they are stingy, okay? And then they were stingy and they were doing hurtful things to each other, etc. And because they were able to listen to the Dharma and change their mind a little bit, so instead of being born in the hell realm, they were kind of saved and born into the hungry ghost realm. So anyway, so Buddha said, you are not there is no shame in you when you are hurting each other, when you are cheating each other, and when you are doing all those ugly things. That time you don't feel shame, at that time you don't think it's ugly. But now the consequence, right, the consequence of your ugly and shameful activities materialize, take form in this life. Now you are ashamed, now you are scared. Now you think this is ugly. So that is that. Then Buddha kind of reminded them of their wrongdoings, etc. And then Buddha said, "Anyway, come tomorrow, and then we will make the dedication." So when the pretas, the next day, when the pretas, all those 500 pretas came to the alms offering, the meal during the meal time, um, offered by the villagers. They came, they approached the Buddha, and then they stood by, and then when they approached the Buddha, all the villagers got so scared, and they started running. They started running away, and then the Buddha said, "You must not run away. This is no one else. This is not a scary ghost, not a scary ghost. It's none other than your own deceased parents and loved ones, and basically your loved ones and relatives who have passed away, and who said that who asked me, requested me to dedicate the meals and other things for them so that they can get some relief. And they've told me themselves. Uh, then they started to relax a little bit. The people started to relax a little bit, and they came back and then stood by. And the Buddha and all the sanghas, um, the food that was offered to them, they had the food and also dedicated it to the pretas, and all the pretas were able um, to enjoy the food. mm, to enjoy the food. We're able to take part in the meals that was being displayed, that was being offered. The Upon the dedication of the meals to the pretas, yeah. So when the meal was dedicated to the pretas, all of the pretas were able to enjoy the meal, and after having the meal, so Buddha recited one line, okay, one verse. So that is, may all the merit of this offering. So the merit, or Buddha also asked the villagers. So these are your relatives and parents and loved ones, and they asked to dedicate the merits that you have accumulated today for them. And do you want to do that? And they said, yes, please. Now knowing that that the pretas are none other than their loved ones, they said, please do so. Then the Buddha did the prayer before eating, which is, may all the pretas of this offering, may all the merits of this offering go to these pretas, okay? And may they be rid of their ugly bodies, okay? And then obtain the happiness of the higher worlds. So basically, the moment the Buddha said that, all the hungry ghosts were able to enjoy the meals that was being offered to the Buddhas, because the Buddha dedicated the meals to the pretas. And after consuming the meals, they passed away. They died, because Buddha said all those pretas get rid of their ugly bodies. So they died, and their ugly body, or their body, was disposed, and then they were born in the 33rd level of heaven, which is the highest level of heaven.
Yeah.
So all this was done through dedication, proper dedication. Yeah. There is this observation that Milarepa had made. So he said that the hermit who stays up in the mountains, and the benefactor, the donor who provides his sustenance, the offers meals to him. There is a link between. There is a very strong link between the two. Okay, the hermit and the donor, which will lead them to enlightenment together. There's a connection. There is a tie between the two: the hermit, the great meditator, and the so-called ordinary donor. Right? There is the ordinary donor, benefactor, and then there is the so-called high meditator. So between these two, high and the low, there is a very strong connection. Okay, and the core essence of that connection is known as dedication. Okay, so meaning, normally what we say is, okay, when there is a very great master, a teacher, a Rinpoche, and so forth, then we say, oh, this is a very great being, right? And then the like normal people like us, we will say, oh, we're just ordinary beings. Whatever we do, there is not much, doesn't make much impact. But when a very great master or a teacher say something or do, then it makes a great impact, right? So the greatest impact that we can make in our lives or in other people's life, is that of enlightenment, Buddhahood, right? So the person who is doing meditation up in the mountains, and the person who is staying down there, working in the field, in the farm, and making this humble offering of rice or tsamba, the flour or whatever, to the meditator, there is a very strong connection, a very strong tie for both of them to get to enlightenment. Okay, and what is that thing? So it's easy for us to think that the meditator will go to enlightenment, very easy to think. But let's say the farmer who's working in his field, how can he go to the Buddhahood just by working in the field? So how can there be, even though he made some simple offering to the yogi, but how can he go to the Buddhahood? What is the connection there? So the connection here between mm, the great yogi and the ordinary farmer, to go to both of them to go together to Buddhahood, that connection is none other than dedication. So if you do proper dedication, then even though you are not a great yogi and you make a small offering of, let's say, a flower or a rice or a fruit, that offering you made with dedication can actually lead you to Buddhahood as well. So that is the main thing what Milarepa is trying to say in this line. Yeah. Now we'll go a little bit further and how to dedicate. Okay. So whom to dedicate, we know we must dedicate to the bank or the pool of merits that has accumulated by all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of the three times. So we dedicate it to that. We dedicate with that, and we dedicate into complete enlightenment, Buddhahood. For the sake of enlightenment, I dedicate this, right? And how should we dedicate? Okay, so here we must apply something called the wisdom from three concepts, or the wisdom free from concept, or free from concepts, or free from three concepts, or three concepts. So these three concepts can be applied not only for dedication, but actually as a Mahayana Bodhisattva practitioner, meaning someone who aspires to become enlightened for the sake of beings. We must actually apply these three concepts, or to be free from these three concepts in every action that six perfection, the generosity, the generosity, patience, all this. So we must apply on these as well. So basically, we must apply wisdom of freedom from concept. Let's just call it wisdom for short. Okay. So we must apply wisdom in our dedication practices as well. So in normal understanding, wisdom practice is part of they have the two sides, right? The wisdom side and the compassion side. Usually we talk about this, the moon and the sun. The sun is the wisdom aspect, and the moon is the broader practices of compassion or patience, or other practices, remember? So in this kind of broader practices of dedication, we must also not forget the wisdom, because prajna, or wisdom, is which is what will get us to enlightenment. Okay, so what is this wisdom? This wisdom is known as the wisdom that releases us or free us from the three concepts. Okay, so the dedication must be free from the three concepts. So it is okay to dedicate without applying the wisdom. But of course, if you apply the wisdom, then it becomes more effective, and it takes you directly to enlightenment. Okay, so the wisdom, as we discussed, is the freedom from the three concepts. So more literally in Tibetan, we call it the three circle. Okay, three circle. But in English, to make it understand more simply, we say three concept. Basically, there are three concept, or three concept which we keep circulating, like going round and round in circles. So the three concept is something. The three concept is that there is a source of merit. So we talk about the merit, right? The merit, the person who is doing the merit, then to whom we are dedicating the merit to, right? So whom you are dedicating the merit is enlightenment, or the Buddhahood, for the sake of Buddhahood. And who has accumulated the merit? It's you. And what is the merit? That merit can be from reciting 100,000, 1,000 or mani padme hum. It can be 1,000 kora. So basically, thus the material or the object that you have accumulated is the merit. Then the person who accumulates it, you, is the merit, the meritor, or the person who accumulates the merit. So there is the merit, then there is the person who accumulates the merit, and then there is the person to whom you accumulate the merit to, right? From, to, and that, right? The merit itself, the person who accumulates the merit, and or the person who dedicates the merit, let's say, and the person to whom the merit was dedicated. So there are three things, right? To whom and the object. So these three things are the three concepts, and one should be free from these three concepts. How? I will tell you. So these three concepts, or these three things, the object, the one who accumulate the merit, and to whom you are dedicating the merit to. So these three things, if you have the concept that these three things are absolutely true, or that these three things are objectively real. In other words, you have the clinging of inherent existence attached to three objects. Then you have what is known as the poisoned dedication. So your dedication is being poisoned or stained in that matter. So you feel like, okay, I did 100 round of Om Mani Padme Hum. Now this is objectively real, and I am the one who is making the dedication. I am also objectively real, independent myself. Then the person to whom I'm dedicating to, the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, they are all objectively real, inherent existence, right? So even though it's easy for us to say inherent existence and non-inherent existence and emptiness and this and that, but intuitively we always feel that the merit that we have gathered is inherently real, absolute truth. And when the person who accumulates the merit is also objectively true, and the person to whom, the object to whom we dedicate the merit, like the Buddha and the Bodhisattva, that is also objectively and absolutely true. So if you have that thing, unless you cleanse your mind, unless you cleanse your concept from these kind of thoughts, then your dedication will be what is known as poison dedication. So it will not be able to bear much sweet fruit. So for a proper dedication, a non-poisonous dedication, or a dedication free from the dedication free from the concept, one has to have a little bit understanding of the concept of emptiness, which is free from there's nothing inherently existent, right? That nothing is objectively true, meaning that everything that is out there, everything that we experience internally and we see externally, all these things are dependently arising, that things are interdependent, right? Nothing exists on its own. Nothing is inherently real or true. So if that is the case, then the dedication that you are making, the merit that you have made, and the dedicator yourself, all of that is free from inherent existence, is absolutely not real, not there. It is there, but in the absolute sense, it is not there. That concept has to be trained. Now, this is not easy for all of us. It's not easy for all of us because we are not used or trained in the idea or concept of emptiness, right? So in which case, how do we make a proper dedication? how can we, those who have not understand emptiness properly, how can we make a non-poisonous and dedication that is free from the three concepts? How can we do that? And then this book actually provides the answer to that as well. So for those of us who are untrained in emptiness and the non-conceptual the ideology of non-conceptual ideology, etc. So for those of us, how do we do the non-poisonous or the poison-free or stain-free dedication? Okay, so we must basically, what we do is, there are a few lines will recite here. So Buddha himself said, now I will dedicate as all the Buddhas have done in the past, all the Buddhas will do in the future, and all the Buddhas are doing in the present. I will dedicate as the Buddhas do. So by doing that, even though we don't know how to do the exact, the nitty-gritty, the details of how to dedicate free from the concept, free from the poisons, but if we visualize in a certain way that we will do as the Buddhas do, because what the Buddhas do are always perfect, then our dedication will also become perfect. So one line is from the confession of the confession of downfall. Basically, that one, you know, the prayer dedicated to the 35 confession Buddhas. So it says, just as all the Bhagavan Buddhas of the past perfectly dedicated merit, just as all the Bhagavan Buddhas yet to come will perfectly dedicate merit, and just as all the Bhagavan Buddhas now present are perfectly dedicating their merit, so likewise, I will also perfectly dedicate my merit. That is that. Oh. Then another one is from the King of Prayers, you know, Sangjo Melam, or in English, Prayer of Good Actions. So no, usually we refer to that as the Samandabhadra's aspirations, or the King of Prayers. So there's one line from there. Okay, that line goes like this: emulating the hero Manjushri, Samandabhadra, and all. So Manjushri is one, Samandabhadra is another one. Samandabhadra and all those with knowledge. I too make a perfect dedication of all the actions that are positive. You might wonder why Manjushri is called a hero here. You know, Manjushri is known as the Buddha of wisdom. We all know that. And we have seen, Manjushri carrying a sword on his head, putting one in his hand and putting it on his crown, his head. But we have never seen Manjushri use the sword to cut someone's head or this and that, right? So where is this thing like Manjushri being a hero? What is this point about? That is because Manjushri has the courage, okay? The courage to throw or to bring someone to the hell realms, to throw someone to the lower realms. No other Buddha, very few other bodhisattvas has that courage to bring sentient beings to lower realms, to bring them to hell realms, to make them suffer. Usually, all the bodhisattvas shy away when they have to make sentient beings suffer. They shy away. They don't do it. They let them alleviate their suffering. But Manjushri can bring people to suffering. He can bring people to the hell realm and lower realms. He has that courage. So what is this nonsense about Manjushri bringing all sentient beings to hell realm and lower realm, right? And this was exactly the accusation that was made to Manjushri by Shariputra, okay, during Buddha's time. That Manjushri was accused for bringing people to the lower realms, bringing people to the hell realms, because there was one Shavaka, basically someone who is not attuned to the practice of bodhicitta or the bodhisattva, meaning someone who's not attuned to the practice of getting enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings, but want to attain nirvana, okay, for one's own self-liberation. And it was such a dedicated practitioner, such a dedicated practitioner. And if you leave him by himself in this very lifetime, during Buddha's own lifetime, he's going to become a great arhat. Mm. And then Manjushri taught him about the practice of bodhisattva, and also introduced him to the concept of uh, emptiness. There is free from inherent existence. There is no, what we just did. There is no merit to dedicate. There is no one to do the merit dedication, and there is nobody to whom you can do the dedication, etc. So he told that Shavaka, that monk, that none of these exist in the absolute sense. And by listening to this teaching, he was actually made to realize that none of this is nothing, all of this is pointless. There is no point in doing, and no purpose in doing the dedication, accumulating the merit, or doing any practices. None of this, all of this is useless. And he lost faith in the Dharma, and he went, because of his losing faith in the Dharma, after having commitment to the Dharma and to the Buddhas, he passed away, and he was born in the hell realm. And Shariputra was furious, so angry, because that was Shariputra's student, and Shariputra was trying to make him an arhat. And all of a sudden, Manjushri snatched him from Shariputra and taught him this, uh, nonsense emptiness thing. And then now he he died, and he was born in the hell realm. Shariputra was so angry, and he took Manjushri to the court. Okay, not to the court of the king, but to the court of Lord Buddha, and said, "I am, this student of mine, bright student of mine, whom I am trying to make into arhat, and then all of a sudden, this Manjushri has to mess up all of my efforts, and now he passed away, and." Okay, so why he passed away, I will just make a short, brief explanation, because when you reach a certain level, very high level of meditative stages, you can actually release your consciousness from the body whenever you want. Meaning, in other words, you can die whenever you want to die. You have control over your death. Okay. So releasing the consciousness from the body means basically die, right? All of us, when we become old or when we get into an accident, whatever, our consciousness is forcefully released by external force from the body. But the bodhisattvas are basically high-level practitioners. They can, on their own accord, they can release their consciousness from the body. Basically, when you do that, when you separate the mind and the body, then you are dead. So he said, I have this bright student, but then he, went to hell realm, this and that. And then Buddha said, what Manjushri did was right. Manjushri, for taking him to the hell realm, did the right thing. So the reason is, if he did not, if he followed Shariputra's path, he would have become a great, he would have attained arahathood, nirvana. So there are two nirvanas, inferior nirvana and superior nirvana. So superior nirvana means Buddhahood, complete Buddhahood. Inferior nirvana means basically you are free from all suffering, no more aging, no more dying, no more pain, no more nothing. Just what is the word for that? So basically you are free from all form of suffering. You have no more suffering. You basically phase out, right? You are very smooth, no more problem, nothing to worry about anymore. And then you don't know how long you are in that state. Basically, you are in that ecstatic state, or you can call it nirvana high. You get high from taking drugs or marijuana or this and that. So similarly, nirvana or meditation can also give you high. So you stay in that meditation high or meditation ecstasy for long, long, long time. You don't remember how long you are there. And it usually takes about 3 to 4 eons, meaning for simple understanding, let's say just call it 3 billion years. So you may stay in that meditative state for 3 billion years, doing nothing, just phasing out, right? Just in a high, being not able to help any other sentient beings. Of course, you are free from suffering, but that's just one person, right? So, but this is a very bright student. So Buddha said by making him understand about emptiness, he actually lose faith in the concept of the inferior nirvana, and for a short period he has to pass away. He lost faith, disappointed, and died in the hell realm. But because of his other practices, he will actually bounce back, okay, faster than any other beings, and then he will partake in the bodhisattva's path, and then he will become enlightened and help countless million other sentient beings. So for that reason, in the long run, what Manjushri did was right. So you see, Manjushri has the courage, the the bravery, the brevity to take someone to the hell realm if it helps them in the long run. That's why Manjushri is known as the hero. This is known as this kind of nirvana is known as intoxication of nirvana. Like basically when you make let's say um, drink a lot of alcohol, or maybe you work so hard for a very, for a couple of weeks or a couple of days, you work so hard for like maybe like you get only 2 3 hours of sleep, and when all of that is done, then you just lie on bed and you sleep for 10 hours, maybe 19 hours, 20 hours, and you don't even realize how time passes. So something like that also happens to the inferior nirvana. But in the sutras, it's referred to as intoxication, like drunk, intoxication of nirvana. That's why. Anyway, but this is for high level practitioner. For us, even to get to have a higher rebirth in the next life, we're not sure, not certain. Let alone nirvana, let alone enlightenment. Right, very far for us. So for those who have the ability to get to nirvana, they should not stop at nirvana. Those who have the ability to get to pure land, they should not stop there, achieve nirvana. Who have the ability to achieve nirvana should not stop there, achieve enlightenment. Who have the ability to achieve enlightenment do not stop there, but achieve enlightenment and work for all the sentient beings, etc. Anyway, but that is what emulating the hero Manjushri means overall. Yeah. Mm, so this last dedication prayer is something that we do all the time. It's a very common practice, and I shared it in the group. I will share the one with the translation later as well. With the fanatics, Tibetan fanatics later. And now we conclude today's teaching. And I believe there's one or two questions, and some of them already answered. Yeah. Okay. So one question is there about emptiness. Nonsense emptiness is nihilism. So basically, the question is about if you reject emptiness, does that mean you are going into a nihilistic path? And that is correct. Yeah. If you reject, I mean, not accepting, not knowing anything about emptiness is one thing, but understand emptiness, know it, and then reject it later. That is going towards nihilism. Correct. Now, there was another question asked earlier, but that was already answered in my talk. So we will conclude here and to the dedication. Yeah. Gewa de nyurdo da lama sangye drupgyurun drawa chigyang malu banke ye sala ge bara sho changju semjo rimbo che ma ye ban ye yuro ji ge ba nyam ba me bara yang kone kondo pe wa sho mi me anze ve de je si je me kem wan bo jan
De boy my de drama je sang wei da kan je ge be zo ge zo kan lo sai dai be shai lai so wan de lo sai dai be shai lai so wan de Zembe Ningbo Zembe Bengash Naman Do Yu Gun La Chan Chu Lo Zan Che Ye Yam Zhe Cho Gun Do Den Ge Do Den Dam Ba So Wan De.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you, Miss Wang. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rinpoche.
Thank you, Mr. Hong. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day.
Xin cảm ơn tất cả quý vị đạo hữu và xin nghỉ đúng đức của tất cả các đạo hữu ạ. Xin hẹn gặp lại quý vị đạo hữu trong các buổi pháp tiếp theo ạ.
Thank you Rinpoche la, cảm ơn đạo hữu
Thank you.
tất cả
Thank you.
Các đạo hữu ạ. Và xin chúc các đạo hữu một ngày chủ nhật.
Everyone have a good day. Have a
Cảm
great
ơn
day.
anh Trang nhé. Thank you.
And good night to
Cảm ơn Hưng.
Cảm ơn chị Oanh, cảm ơn tất cả mọi người ạ.